want to support NA League of Legends? Do you want custom emotes to spam in chat? Do you want to wake up and taste freedom? Sub to twitch.tv/LCS Challengers to salute the players and the flag!
Oh, this starts. Wait, what about the Canadian players?
Heck yeah, they're in too! Anyone can!
I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part, and you can too! Sub to twitch.tv/LCS Challengers to salute the players and the flag!
Salute to you, Get Back. We do it for the players, everybody. And FlyQuest just did it in 21 minutes. A blitzing speed for that game 3. They felt like they were playing with a chip on their shoulder. And Get Back, while we were watching, a lot was going on in that game. I want to get your initial thoughts and reactions to it.
So there's a lot of interesting things from this game. The first one being that they early invade on the Ivern. The Poppy had 3 pushing lanes and just walked straight in the jungle over no walls and just killed him. Yep. There was the bot lane dives off repeat. Ryoma kept getting forced off mid to cover them, so Jace was able to hit mid. And from all of that, from top winning and bot winning and Ryoma being forced off mid, all their towers were at 2 plates by 11 minutes. And their jungle was like 0-3. And then somehow after that, they won a fight like 5-for-1 and then lost the game 6 minutes later. So it was just the weirdest trajectory in game that I've seen in so long. But it just feels like FlyQuest, you know what I was saying before, where some teams just fight. It looks like they went, the series isn't going away, screw it, just play with no fear and hit them. And it just looked like a scrim. They just, every time they saw them, they all clicked their flash button and went forward. And they just rolled them. It was honestly a really fun game to watch.
Masu in particular, I want to get your thoughts on him. I know the cast was talking him up a lot, but he flashed like 3 times in the first 13 minutes, and all of them were hyper impactful flashes where he just barely saves, turns a play. I know the last one was where actually EG found a teamfight win finally, but it was after the fact. So talk to me about the performance of the AD carry for FlyQuest.
Masu, it's classic Masu, the way he plays. He's very aggressive and he tries to play on the edge. He got the really good kill on King. That was huge for the game, where he had both his sums and King walked anywhere near him and he's like, get off my screen, just sprint straight at him and flashes past him. And honestly, he had a really good game. I really feel like the bot lane and jungle of FlyQuest just took this game and ran away with it. And jungle support kept setting him up and he dunked it every time and got really fed, and it was just a stomp, honestly.
And now, Beatdown, I want to talk a little bit about the jungle because there was that invade going in. You were mentioning on cast, a little bit off cast as well, the lack of vision setup. And I think we're starting to see that Poppy might be Armeo's kryptonite. I know that Get Back was talking about this as well, but Beatdown, I also want to get your thoughts on it. He hasn't been playing it a lot. They've been banning it a lot. And then this happens the first time they play against Poppy in quite a while.
I will preface this by saying UG is really good at Poppy, so that could be also a reason why it's banned away from him in particular. But also, I mean, it's what Get Back and I are both talking about. No defensive vision. Ivern's the easiest jungler to invade, and Ivern has all the waves pushing against him. So it's really just a lack of foresight on Evil Genius's part that they got punished heavily for. And despite that good fight, the 5-for-0 that EG got, in my mind, the game was over at level 2, because as soon as you go into like 10 minutes in the game, Ivern is 0-3. All your laners are getting plates. Like, you're feeling fantastic as FlyQuest.
In Armeo's defense, though, he did catch up in CS. He caught up in jungle clear on the Ivern, because Ivern does Ivern things.
It did happen.
Get Back. Was this a draft gap, though? Can we summarize it in that way, or was it a disrespect to how you play your draft and not expecting the invade, and it still could have won?
I don't think this is a draft gap. I actually do think FlyQuest draft is better, but I think this game was very playable for the blue team. They were all in their comforts. What they really needed to do... So the issue is that the best lane usually to contest with in this exact comp would be mid, but Ivern and LeBlanc ganks are kind of iffy if he has like Mercs or something like that. They just needed to get their vision out early, use whatever push they can to defend, and get through the early parts of the game. But yeah, I think that this is exactly what FlyQuest would want, and there will be some adaptations. UG was just destroying them on the Poppy. This matchup bot lane, like even before anyone got involved, they were losing really hard 2v2. Like the Kai'Sa was destroying them. I don't think they'll go this direction again. But yeah, I don't think it was completely draft. I think it was play. FlyQuest should play with no fear.
I think we lost Kangas, but
he's gone.
Based on what's on my screen, I think it's pretty safe to say we're giving Masu player of the game. And I mean, he had a really pop-off performance get back, especially in that must-win game. Because remember, EG went 2-0 up in pretty convincing fashion for the most part, and FlyQuest really flipped it on him.
Yeah, I think Masu is very deserving. I think he could have given it to, honestly, any Masu wins from UG. I really think they were the core of this game.
Yeah.
I think they all definitely deserve it. Yeah, it's really good, and I mean, he's pretty new, right? Like, this kid didn't play like 1 year ago, so it's good to see him when he's back against the wall game. He came out and played really aggro, played with confidence, and carried the game. So that's always a really good sign for him in the future.
Yeah, it's got to be a good look, and I want to just continue picking your brain a little bit until we get Kangas back. What does Game 4 look like? I mean, for both teams in terms of draft, what do you think these pivots are going to be?
So I think the classic thing is don't give Ryan with Tristana.
Yeah,
that's the first bet where it's going to go. But past there, I really think giving Yuji a good Poppy game is bad. He looked so confident. I think Amau had his number in the first 2 games. More so the second game, but in this game, it was like Yuji just knew exactly where he wanted to be, how he wanted to play fights, and he looked so good. I don't think you can give him that again, or at least make it not a good Poppy game. Like, not only is he good at the champ, it was a great game for it. I think, honestly, they had success playing into the Azir. That's not a must ban for them. That could be a way that they pivot. Spirax didn't really get much done in his Azir game, even though it is one of his best champs.
For sure.
And I just think, yeah, other things like don't take the Zyra Khan into the Kai'Sa Nord again. That didn't go very well for them. Potentially ban a piece of it. I even think banning Kai'Sa would be really good for EG. The reason being is that King has shown that he likes to play. He played Seraphine in MF, and I know that he can play Ziggs, and these are champs that traditionally to have a pretty good time versus Zyra. So he could go for that route if he wanted to as well. But yeah, I think I'd definitely pivot. A lot of different ways I can pivot from this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's still the Seraphine to talk about as well, which is something we've seen King bring out from time to time. I like the Ziggs call out too. We're definitely going to need to see some kind of shift, some kind of mix-up here from Evil Genius Challengers. I mean, FlyQuest definitely struck back in this 4th game. And, you know, as we wait to see what goes on with the other guys, do you have any other predictions for the rest of this series? I know before going into Game 3, you had mentioned that, you know, on the top of the day, you thought FlyQuest were going to be the team to win the series, and then you kind of shifted over to EG. Has your opinion shifted back? Are you still thinking EG close out?
I think it's so draft dependent. I think in the first 2 games, EG looked so strong, and sometimes these games just happen. Like, I've been on the EG side of this as well, where everything goes wrong. Like, this is one of those games where you just feel like everything goes wrong. Your jungle got invaded, then bot died, then top died, then mid died, then everyone died.
Yeah.
You can see here, like, this is 2v2. This is just after, this is like just 2v2 after the Poppy invaded. They just slam in, kill this guy's. Like, they're always playing in their face. It's 3 minutes in and the tower's already down a plate and a half. Like, this isn't because they're like bad or anything. Sometimes everything just goes wrong. So I think what you can do if you EG is say, that game didn't matter, screw that game, whatever, it won't happen again, and just refresh and go again. So I think as cop-out as it sounds, a lot of it will come down to the players' mental and how hard they stick in. So I think EG have nothing to worry about after that game.
Yeah, I mean, we could still see a mix-up come through here as we can take a look at the footage that's happened in these last couple of games. And I mean, it's kind of to your point. We talked about it a little more off-screen. Ryoma himself actually played pretty well on the LeBlanc. Quite literally did everything he possibly could have to make this one, to try and put this one back.
Because bot was such a tragedy, and the jungle, like the whole red side jungle of EG was like, was Chernobyl in there. Like, you can't walk in there. Anyone walks in there, you die. Like, they were so scared to ever be there that they just had to keep conceding, and the only thing they could do is Ryoma had to keep leaning down and fogging down. You can see it does it here, but if you looked at the map during the game, he was fogging after every wave. This let Jay scale for free and hit the tower, so it was a pretty tough game for him. But again, as I said, like, you just don't take this game to heart. Just fix up your draft a little bit and say, this game sucked, whatever, let's win the next one. And I think they should be pretty good to do that. And I don't know, it feels like FlyQuest won this game by being crazy, whereas EG won the games by being controlled. So I think it really, it'll be how these games play out. Like, who wins will probably be dependent on the pace of the games, where everyone gets caught up in the crazy or whether they're more structured.
Right, and do you favor, let's say in these situations, if you're like FlyQuest, the team that just made a big comeback, do you feel like, I know we talk about momentum a lot, you know, as casters, as a broadcast, is that a thing you guys really feel in these sorts of situations? You're down 0-2, you got an insanely dominating win, and like, do the vibes play into this as well?
Oh, for sure. I mean, everyone feels way better after a win. It also depends on the individual person or player. Some players actually love having their back against the wall, and they go crazy with it. Some players crumble and just fall apart. And I think that obviously they feel very good. But the issue is it almost feels less bad to lose a game like this for EG than a long game. Because this game, you just chalk it down to this game sucked. Like, and you just move on. So this fight here, this was crazy. Here in this fight, they won this maybe 5-1 or 5-0, and I really thought that they were going to turn around the game here. But they were still up so much gold because all the plates that FlyQuest had taken. When you look at this after losing this fight, like 4-0, or 5-0, whatever it was, they were still up 3k gold just off lanes. Like this, so I said this game just felt like an anomaly. It was really well played. I loved this play actually. The Gragas showed bot with no TP, and they knew this is their one chance. I thought this was a very good play by EG. This shows that they have good ideas and they're structured and they're not going to roll over and die. So, yeah, I still got a series in our hand. I think the next draft will play in a lot to how the series will go.
Yeah, 100%. And it's going to be interesting to see how this one closes out. I mean, the adaptions you talked about could come through. We know Evil Geniuses still have a lot in their back pocket in terms of draft, picks, things like that. So it's just going to be about whether or not they're going to be able to close it out, or we see another Silver Scrapes, another potential reverse sweep, because I know we were talking about yesterday at the top of the show and how Disguised had that insane upset victory over Fear by turning things around. This could be that similar situation, we find ourselves in. And I get back. I'm going to put you on the spot right now while we still have a couple more seconds before we go to the draft. What is your prediction? Are we going to Game 5? Are we closing this out? What's the play?
It's so hard to make a prediction now without seeing
I know,
the draft,
that's why I'm doing it.
I want to say that...
I see you focusing.
I think that FlyQuest is going to win. That's my prediction.
Wow, okay.
I think FlyQuest is going to win this game. Because, number one, it's the more interesting answer. And number two, I feel like this was the game more than any other one. They really honed in on what they're good at, what they want to draft with. Like, this is the things we're good at. This is what we're going to win with. And I didn't like the direction they went in some of the other games. So I feel like this plays to their strength. I feel like they're a great team. Yeah, I think they'll pull through.
All right, fair enough. I appreciate you dealing with me, putting you on the spot like that. And I just got word that we do have the draft ready to go. Of course, Get Back, you will still be with us, but we have a surprise sub coming through. I'm not going to say who it is. It's Cubby.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's good to join you guys today. I gotta say, last time I did play-by-play casting, it's been a while, and we're still getting ready over here. But guys, in a crazy series so far, we had EG almost fight back there, but FlyQuest dominant early game. I think that opener from UG was fantastic in the last one, and curious what you guys are looking out for when it comes to draft.
I think the very first thing needs to be brought up is Tristana. I feel like FlyQuest have to bend Tristana again away from Ryoma.
Yeah,
questions about whether they want to deal with this Zyra Khan Kai'Sa Nort trade. I think it went really poorly for them, but they might chalk it up to this game just sucked, which does happen sometimes. They give them the Tristana this time.
Wow.
They pivoted.
Wow. That is a champion that EG used to beat Team Liquid. I gotta say, potential that, might give a shout out to Turo. Turo unique selection could be that Tristana as Terex being hovered.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that's close to Trist on the board. Yeah, I have a feeling that one might be locked in.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be the safe bet. Every time it's up and available, they grab it right away. It looks so good for Ryoma in that first game, or rather the second game, excuse me, but it is the Kai'Sa. So not banning it away like you suggested, Get Back, they want to grab that for themselves.
So yeah, this is, I actually do like this, and the reason being is that what's probably going to happen is they're saying if you take the Tristana, we're going to take the Jace mid matchup, which is a nice matchup for Jace. They obviously decided after last game, screw playing Zyra Khan versus Kai'Sa Nort. Just get the Kai'Sa, take either Jace or Tristana, whatever they throw back to us, and they'll be happy. I think this is a good adaptation because of the other team. Oh, he's going for the Azir. Very interesting. So,
I mean, this is something that has been extreme comfort for Spyrax throughout his entire career, including Maryville. And Get Back, kind of working with him. You getting any Azir tips from him? Maybe when he goes to boot camp with you guys, a lot of 1v1s?
No, I 1v1 with him all the time. He's great at Azir. He's better at Azir than I am, I can tell you that much. He's yeah, he's very good at these matchups. He understands champ well. He feels very comfortable. Graves.
Wow, I mean, that's our Turo unique selection, surely. Just the fact that we're seeing the champion that Yuji played in Game 3 against Wildcard, which was definitely a unique one. And it's interesting to see that one picked up so early. I mean, you know, you can... Kai'Sa short range, you get a lot of value out of that smoke screen, and you definitely have a pushing lane mid, so you feel good about power farming.
Yeah, and this is something that Yuji just, I mean, dropped an absolute nuke
Like
on
13
Wildcard.
kills or something.
Yeah, he was the danger in that game. He was the one who knocked. So this is something definitely comfort for Yuji. Has great hands coming out of the jungle, but that Tristana or Ryoma, no surprises there. And Ivern's still on the table if they want to pair that up.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. They showed the Lilia earlier, and so there's a good chance they might try and back that up earlier. They decide to drop jungle. They can look at the Ivern. They can look at the Lilia. They don't necessarily have to go AP because they have Kai'Sa, but I'm not sure what else Armao is actually going to play here outside of those champions as well.
I'm thinking about maybe... I don't know, Nocturne is off the table here. Poppy, Maokai, Sedge, a lot of the premier junglers are gone here. I'm kind of wondering if we see more bans towards Surdy on that top side as well. I mean, his Jax has been pretty great all series long. You talked about it before the series. He had like 9 games on the pick get back. And I'm wondering if that's something we see come through here. Maybe the Kennen. I know it's a lot of AP, but it does kind of fit, especially with the Jax being taken out of the picture.
Yeah, I think they probably expect a Gragas ban, and that's probably the only champion that Faisal wants to play into Jax, and because the blue team has the last ban, they probably don't want to play that game, so they decide to ban the Jax out, even though it is pretty bad into the Azir, but Surdy has shown that he's just really good at it. Yeah. The AD carry pool is getting a bit smaller. You pretty much see people switch between Xayah and Kai'Sa every single game, but Master's shown a bit of Kog'Maw, which some people like Kog'Maw into Kai'Sa. Also... I know there's one other one. I don't know if he's a Draven player, but that's another pick some people like into Kai'Sa too. It'd be really interesting. I think the AD pick is going to be a weird one, I imagine.
I'm curious if we actually see an Aphelios out of Masu. It's something you can somewhat utilize to outrange Kai'Sa, have some guns to control him later in the game, and pairs well with the Nautilus. So that's one. Maybe EG takes it off the board now. To be banned out. Because now with something like Jinx, that can somewhat pair well with Nautilus, but later in the game, it's so easy to get attacked by Kai'Sa Tristana. I feel like that's not really an option.
Yeah, I think, the Xayah Aphelios bans and the clear bans here, and really see what Master has in his pool, because they dropped him, so obviously they feel like it's something Ezreal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about too.
I don't love this one. You can win the laning phase when you have range, but this is a tricky one. We actually saw NRG playing this specifically on the LCS stage in the TL. Get back, you're not thrilled about this.
No, I always feel like every time I see Ezreal into Kai'Sa, you talk to AD carry mains and they're like, yeah, man, like the lane's good, but what happens when you get hit by one auto attack or W outside of lane is you just die. Like, you literally just die instantly. So it feels really awkward, especially like even Tristana, Tristana can hop on your head, you're not going to escape. Like, the Ezreal Nautilus as well, I always feel like is so iffy because the way the champs play out, like, if you can't one-shot them, then with the WR combo from Ezreal with the Nautilus lockup, you kind of lose. Like, I don't love the Ezreal here, but the reality is I don't really know what else he's going to pick in this situation. I think I would have preferred an AD carry pickup earlier. Yeah,
I think it's a safe laner so that you have that opportunity for Winsome to go roam around the map, and Monster should theoretically be okay. And I mean, to his credit, Monster's a player who, when we first saw him start his career, Ezreal, Senna were the 2 champions. He put some incredible performances on, really showed the talent that led him to where he is today. So it is, in a pretty crucial game scenario, an interesting pick to come through as we see them rounded out with the Malphite for Faisal.
Yeah, and this is a very similar draft to what FlyQuest played in a do-or-die game against Wildcard in that game 3, as Malphite's locked in. Ivern brings some really good scaling. Get back, any last thoughts from you?
Funnily enough on that as well, this is also very similar to the stuff that EG played in their last series. Tristana Kai'Sa stuff to scale and take down Team Liquid. So these are obviously both comps they're comfortable in. I think this game's completely playable for both teams, and either team could honestly win a fight at any stage. So I think it'll really come down to execution.
All right, guys. Well, it has been great joining you. We're going to be in the game shortly, and I've got good news. Unfortunately, I can't live out the dream of having a play-by-play cast as a cover cast.
Dream.
Good news for all of you guys back home. We're going to have Desterux in here very shortly to get into the game. And guys, I'm excited to watch this one from the sidelines as FlyQuest do or die game yet again here going into EG. Any final thoughts here? Beatdown, I'm going to toss it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, again, gotta stress the do-or-die situation here for FlyQuest Challengers. Bouncing back after such a difficult first 2 games here as well. Like, props to them for being able to bounce back in that game 3. Really dominating game, and I don't have to stall anymore. Desterix is back. Eric, I missed
not me.
you.
It is Cubby. I am Cubby.
You're Cubby.
I am Cubby too.
Did your voice get nicer?
Yes. We could have some Twixes together.
Ooh.
All right. I missed all of draft, but now that I'm catching up, holy cow. Double marksman, that's Ryoma having his Tristana, and we got the Ivern once again to try and enhance these ones. I'm liking it from EG, but I'm also liking it at FlyQuest. We got some aggro there.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting draft on both sides. We kind of got to talking the details of it before you managed to join back. I think the standouts is that FlyQuest, this is a comp very similar to what they played against Wildcard in the 3rd game of their series just a couple of days ago. And that's really the thing to point out, except the big difference is that Ezreal for Masu, a little awkward here. His Get Back was talking about into something like the Kaisa, but again, this is something Masu earned his bread on in his first split of competitive play. And I like what we're seeing here from Yuji again. Like, he is trying to pressure Armeo early on, trying to see what he can take away from him. But that early rotation, King and Smoothie, they learned their lesson after game 1.
I remember the Ezreal very clearly from the, I believe it was the regular season. We got to see it against Team Fish Taco, where he got a pentakill on the Ezreal. And absolutely beastly onto that champion. So, you know, even though you do have that situation currently being dealt with for Masu when it comes to fighting against this Kaisa, it's still a comfortable champion for him. And let's see, looks like we got Deserix 2 trigger happy on the internet kill switch. Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
He internet kill switch
I did it again
this time. You gotta stop pressing that big red button. Yeah, it is the red button. But
I saw Kangas there, and I just pushed him away and pressed it before it stopped. Go ahead.
Oh, Kangas, you gotta do better next time. But I mean, we really gotta talk about just more like what's at stake here. Remember, it's, you know, tech issues aside, lower bracket, and how much of a big deal it would be for EGC to close this one out. Remember, FlyQuest sent them here in the first place. It's been a dominating start, but FlyQuest were able to answer back, and I am getting DSG Fear vibes from yesterday. So now EGC, they have some of their comfort drafts. EGC, they have a really strong scaling composition with that double marksman. They have ways to win this game. We got to see if they have actually adapted enough throughout the playoffs to overcome FlyQuest, who we had highlighted are just so versatile with the strategies they run.
Ooh, I like this take, Beat. I like that you want us to go the distance. I want to see that as well.
I do.
I mean, every time these teams have shown up on the Rift, it has always been a slugfest. First round robin, it's FlyQuest who's taking the 2-0. Second round robin, what ends up happening? We end up in the same situation, just evil geniuses taking a 2-0. And of course, as you said, playoffs bracket, FlyQuest send them down here. Evil geniuses looking for that revenge, and there's still just one game away with a lot of comfort to make it a reality.
That's right, and you can see it. Ryoma is getting so much pressure in this mid lane. This is his comfort pick in the Tristana. Something that he is looking to really take advantage of, giving that opening for Armeo, who has the smite. Oh, he couldn't actually steal it away. And Yuji has been invading Armeo since last game, and he's just been able to take away so much from him, and it's looking like that hasn't stopped.
And when Winsome and Masu choose to go for an engage, they do it with their chest, man, and they chase away both Smoothie and King. The heal going to be burnt out of Masu to just try and get some extra movement speed in the process, but King and Smoothie, they don't want to end up in the same situation they had in that game number 3 where they were absolutely dominated.
And I like this. Masu and Winsome again, like they know when to push. Masu especially, just having that knowledge that Armeo was on the other side of the map, you feel really good about this, and getting the better of a matchup that Get Back was highlighting wasn't so great for the Ezreal when you're playing into something like the Kaisa, but didn't really work. Oh, hold on.
Hey, hello to Ryoma. Yeah, he's got the brush. He can rocket jump over if he wants to. Down the safer side, be a little bit careful there. You don't want to take too many risks with the Nautilus not too far off from you, but still, you'll be a-okay as Evil Geniuses attempt a collapse onto the bottom lane. Don't quite get it in time. Now things just gonna go resetting. As we see the first purchase out of Masu, gonna have that tier, start stacking it up. And that's the one thing about the Ezreal. You do got to stack up that tier, take a little bit of time before you reach that damage spike. And by then, EGC are going to be looking to race.
Still, I mean, once you get the Sheen, you do feel a lot better in the laning phase. So that's something I'm keeping my eyes out there for. Masu, Faisal, in this top lane. Playing the Malphite again was really clutch with the engages. And, oh man, we are just fighting nonstop.
Oh, man. And Winsome's not going to fall.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even have Flash. King has to burn his, but Armeo is here. It's a lot of shielding to provide for King. It does stop the gank out of Yuji.
Yeah, a really big deal there, but you still get both summoner spells out of King. That's the big thing to focus on there. It's something you can punish in those coming minutes that I'm certain Yuji's going to look to do. Both last game and this game.
Oh, they're right onto Masu.
No.
Masu's going to try and kite this one away. He's on Ezreal, Arcane Shift, and Flash all day. EG won't pursue.
And they're forced to back on a bit of an awkward timer there. The wave hasn't fully shoved out. Masu's going to be able to hold that one, deny more gold and XP. But King, Smoothie, they don't have a choice. They can't risk giving kills over to Masu. He ran away with it in that game 3 that we just watched.
Yeah, and that was really, really gross because it was showing what happens when Masu and Winsome get a lead that strong. They do not let up. They just continuously dogpile onto the bottom lane, call the jungler, call the mid laner, call the whole family because it's a fiesta when you get Masu and Winsome eating.
And now things slowed down quite a bit. I mean, we talked a little bit about it in Champ Select. I mean, both teams scaled really well into that late game. Both teams have a lot of tools in the late game to play these things out. So I'm really looking to see how they set up for these objectives. I mean, Faisal is going to be that big trigger pull alongside Winsome later on, especially as he gets tankier and tankier. And being in that position where you have to face check into FlyQuest is going to end up being super dangerous. Very reminiscent of what EG had in that first game of this series today, Eric.
Kind of surprising. No first blood.
They're trying.
This game, still looking for it. We've been really hunting down this bottom lane. Armeo's here as well. The engage onto Winsome as well. Smoothie at the same time. Both supports going to lose a good chunk of health, about half in the process. Armeo eating some of those mystic shots. Trying to hide behind the minions as Ryoma is now here. Looking for the snare. He landed on a minion. Oh, that is pure suffering.
That's tilt. I'm tilted for him. That could have been the angle, but
I'm going down, B. I'm going down.
We're gonna, no, I can't lose you again, bro. Masu, or rather, both these teams, so much heavy emphasis bot lane. I mean, props to Armeo for recognizing a part of what FlyQuest, or why FlyQuest found so much success in that third game, is the fact that Yuji got the better of Armeo and managed to gank bot on repeat. So Armeo, at least this time, is trying to match, trying to make sure King doesn't fall too far behind. But again, even naturally, in the 2v2, you see Masu and Winsome getting the better of them. You see this 10 CS lead. You see the fact that Yuji has been able to keep up his farm lead as well because he's been finding better timers to gank. And you just feel so good about your chances for this Rift Herald. So they're just going to go ahead and pick that one up. An easy way, FlyQuest, to pick up some gold and snowball this game forward.
And when you're getting the respawn timers just right, the ganks are coming out just right, it feels so good to be a Graves, man.
Yeah.
Right now, Yuji will be rewarded with a Rift Herald. And get him level 6 at the same time. Going to be steam rolling, getting stronger and stronger as time goes. And now, as a good way to bring an influx of gold over towards some of his teammates in FlyQuest.
And the question is just going to be, where do you drop it out? If this last game, the last few minutes of this game are any indication, something tells me he has his sights set onto the bot lane. Armea, he's already here. Level 6 has the Daisy. I mean, Masu, look, he's playing Ezreal. He has he has Heal Flash and Arcade Shift. Like, he's not going to die. It's okay. We don't have to talk about it.
You say the eyes set in the bottom lane, but it's like everyone's eyes are set down there right now. We're just constantly revisiting the bot lane time and time again. It's been like 4 ganks at this point and still no first blood. The bot lane is where we're just trying to get things to go down, and already a knockup going to be found onto Masu off the back half of Smoothie. It's still only just scrapping it out, waiting for the big fight to start.
Right, and now Spyrax actually has a pretty decent health advantage, has the wave going in, so Yuji can be in the area, especially with Ryoma looking to recall right now. Honestly, I mean, the fact that Ryoma's recall is delayed too, he is going to lose some of this wave coming through here, and that opens up the opportunity for Yuji to drop this Herald. Armeo is even here to try and see if he can cover it.
He's thinking about it, does set up over to catch the wave that's coming in. If no one was there, Yuji was definitely dropping the Rift Herald. Instead, we'll just back off and moving back into his own side of the jungle as his blue buff is currently up. Gonna take that. His red buff is still available. Lots of priority in the bottom lane and lots of scrapping in this top side.
We're just fighting all over the map. This has got to be the bloodiest no-kill game I've ever seen.
Right?
Yeah, and it's unreal. And really, the differences that are coming through here just end up being in the CS numbers. And the only really thing of note is that the lead for Yuji and Masu is what's contributing. Oh, hold on a second.
Forced out the unstoppable force. So, Surdy
for ult.
Underneath the tower trying to score that kill.
He's trying to do something. Something has got to break here for this either one of these teams. But the opportunity hasn't shown up yet. Yuji, I'm pretty sure that's a visual bug, and he still has time on the Herald to work with. And with, I just kind of want to see where he's going to drop it. It's looking like he beelines mid, and it could be that perfect setup for you to get the first straight.
It would be a good time considering his red buff is available, so he will be clearing that out and should have the pathing going downwards, which, as you said, can place that Rift Herald into the mid lane to try and set up something for Dragon, which even in that regard, we've gone a long time without First Blood, we've gone a long time without First Drake. Will the first spawn of the mountain still available on the Rift? Right,
and I mean, it's worth looking at EGC, Ryoma and King, they've gotten their first items. Static Shiv, not really a backbreaking or anything huge when it comes to item spikes. You're waiting for the second one, third for Tristana. So it is a way for you to get wave push, but it's really about it at the moment here, especially if Yuji is able to find any bit of anything here.
Ryan was very smart with the way he played that. Like, no one's in lane, so he just looks around and is like, something's up, you guys. Something's here. Something doesn't smell right.
Yeah, and you know the timer.
Keep it on the safe side.
Dude, you know the timer is starting to run out too on this Herald. So EG moving everyone to the mid lane, trying to make sure they can limit as much as possible from that eye is really smart, just so that it's basically going to get just the charge, and that's probably it. You can't threaten more.
But for FlyQuest, I think you're happy enough with it. It's a lot of plates being picked up.
For Yuji.
As well as the positioning onto the Dragon as King and Masu gonna fight this out. Able to flash away. King will sidestep out from the True Shot Barrage. Killer Instinct goes in and First Blood is found in the bottom lane. King will reclaim the throne.
Yeah, I mean, Smoothie, he played that one well too. Despite Masu's best attempts, that healing from the Q ended up being one of the difference makers there. And I respect to Masu for going for it, but this time around, he gives First Blood to King. He gives the first kill to this Kaisa, and this was what broke the game down for EGC in game one. Maybe FlyQuest are the ones who are going to suffer now.
And remember what Get Back said, man. Once these trades start going the way of Kaisa, there's not much an Ezreal can do once the 1v1s really start scrapping around the mid game, but Smoothie playing it ever so clutch here to save out his marksman.
Yeah, I mean, Masu, he did his best. That True Shot Barrage really needed to hit King if there was ever going to be a hope of this play going in your favor. And I mean, the Ignite from Smoothie was such a big thing too. You limited the value of that healing. I mean, it was a 1v2, so it would have been insane if Masu overcame it, but he did not. He now has the Trinity Force to play with, which is pretty good for the Ezreal. But the fact that King is now catching up / getting ahead of him a little bit, this does get a little harder, especially when you get that Nashor's Tooth. The fact that one thing Get Back specifically mentioned, getting hit by that auto W is the problem part of the combo, just because of that damage with the W evolve and the passive.
That's something Masu will have to pay a lot of respect to. He can't be as aggressive as we've seen him in some of these previous games, especially that game number 3 we had just witnessed. Masu was so willing to go forward, and definitely one of the highlights. This young player as Ryoma will be able to buffer out from the Emperor's Divide. Eugene Spyrax coming up empty-handed in the mid.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the rotation. Masu wins some, finding an opportunity here to get some pressure mid lane, and it's really to make space for what looks like a Herald or Yuji. Being able to get that second one gives them the space to knock down that mid-tier one, try to break open the map a little bit. And you can see it, Faisal is going to answer that bot lane as well. He has teleport if things get mixy, and it's looking like things might get mixy.
Yeah, Evil Geniuses are posturing up. It's going to be a reset on the Rift Herald. Though it's not going to be as free as FlyQuest had initially hoped for. It's actually Evil Geniuses who are going to pull it out now. They've called up their bottom lane. Still need that teleport from Faisal if FlyQuest want to take a fight.
Wow, I mean, he's teleporting to the turret. There's no vision that he can go for.
Right.
Herald is half health, so he's going to get there in time.
Oh, if they clump up, Unstoppable Force could be huge. On to Winsome, here we go, able to find it, backline gonna go down. It's one kill found, Winsome falls, and now Evil Genius still bringing in the rockets, still bringing in the cannonballs, looking for Yuji, but Yuji will escape. Can Faisal get away? However, he's used up his resources, still has his flash available, and now kiting this out very slowly, very carefully, is gonna be FlyQuest, as they will cut their losses at 1.
And this is a great skirmish there from EGC. They force them off the Herald. They get a kill on top of it, and now Ryoma is sitting on the eye. You'll see it. You had a lot of time for this play to come through. That's why you see Faisal. He teleports to the tier 1, and it's good. But you can see the lack of vision. It's so hard for Winsome, FlyQuest to go for the right targets here. So people like Ryoma and King were, for the most part, free hitting pretty easily. Some pressure came onto this Kaisa. At the end of the day, between the shielding from your ult, the shielding from Ivern and Rakan, like, there's no way you go down to this poke damage.
Oh, and beautifully played from Evil Geniuses, not clumping up and allowing Faisal to get that big ultimate. Also shows you the threat that FlyQuest can do. If they're able to kite this back properly, Masu will land a lot of those Mystic shots and slowly chip away at Evil Geniuses. Now focusing on the top side, Winsome does not land the hook onto Ryoma.
No, and that could have been the start of something there. They do make it so Ryoma doesn't have an angle to drop Herald, but this is the Tristana we're talking about. You give him any time to free hit a turret, it's gonna go down very, very quickly. And you can see it, FlyQuest trying to answer, just following him around because they know Ryoma's the one sitting on the eye. And FlyQuest needs to stop the bleeding a little bit. You can see they're down 1,000 gold. We're getting closer to items number 2 for Ryoma and King, and that's where this comp gets dangerous for FlyQuest to deal with.
Yeah, I'm looking at the timer, 1:50 before Dragon comes up, so if you can get that onto Ryoma and King, those second items set, it's going to make it that much harder for FlyQuest to have to engage forward. FlyQuest are going to want some form of scaling onto their side, especially with Spyrax on the Suzir. Now, once this comp is able to keep things equalized and we get into deeper stages, look at how many, basically, marksmen you have. I kind of count Azir as that just because the auto attacks a lot. But it means that they can take out the Baron in the blink of an eye. They just got to get towards that stage safely.
I really like that call out. It's definitely an option there, but I'm also conversely expecting EGC to be very careful about vision placement on that neutral objective, because it's, I mean, a really easy way for FlyQuest to get back into this game. You could literally just have Yuji and Masu, Yuji and Spyrax 2-mana, and you will destroy it very, very quickly. But for the moment, we're in this stalemate of a game where not a whole lot of action has happened since that kill for the second Herald. And there really isn't much to do here. Hold on, Spyrax.
Here we go. Engage right onto Spyrax. He doesn't get rooted up. Armeo's not able to land the snare in time, but Ryoma will still hop right over. Now looking for Yuji, who's underneath the tower. Flashing it's going to be Surdy. Finds Yuji, and Ryoma will pick up that kill. Hey, let's get a 2-for-1 deal. We'll grab the turret as well.
And that's first brick on top of yet another kill going over to EGC's pocket. Great teleport coming through because Faisal didn't have his. It just ticked off cooldown right now. And this is a tough spot for FlyQuest to be in. I mean, there isn't any more Heralds to play for. You only have one Drake at 19 minutes, so Soul is a bit of an unreasonable expectation. I don't know if the game's going to go that long. And there isn't really much for you to hope for besides trying to make a plays to side. But it's hard because your side laners in EG, Cassante, Tristana, very slippery. Kondo, not that
one catch out
apparently.
going to be found by FlyQuest, so something going back over to FlyQuest. They're able to get on the board at the very least. But this is a tough call right now for FlyQuest. They have to bring everything they absolutely can. This was, you know, a journey set by the core of this roster back at the start of 22. 3 splits in a row. They were met with dead ends and locked doors. They don't want this to be another one. They want to fight their way forward. And right now, able to take down the mid lane tower. Masu's able to grab another kill. And maybe FlyQuest still have life, still have fight ready to bring.
I mean, this is the way to do it. He's finding these pickups. It starts with Smoothie, and next they get Surdy. So that's gold. Back into some pretty crucial pockets, I will say, in the side lane. Ryoma gets a tier 1, so we'll be able to get something back, but I still favor FlyQuest in that trade overall, and they denied the Rift Herald on top of it. So you are getting closer and closer to these 2 item spikes. It's worth noting King is already there with the Nashor's Tooth, so he is really going to start to do some serious damage. Get Back said it when we were looking at the draft. This game, it really is going to come down to execution for both of these squads. I mean, for FlyQuest, the big thing is you're still looking for these all-ins. Spyrex, Winsome, Faisal all have ways to get some big CC off to set up the damage dealers to do damage. And EGC, I mean, they have Pokken all in on their side as well. The long engages really favor them though, because they have Armeo on the Ivory. He's got Moonstones. He's got the Redemption coming through as well. So he is going to get a lot of value off the shielding, off the healing.
And with 2 marksmen on your team on top of it, makes it even that much more tasty. FlyQuest positioning around the Baron, just clearing out vision for the time being, as Armeo, Smoothie posturing up to try and get some vision control back over towards their side. FlyQuest, this is a tough fight for them, but they're still definitely in the game as they've shrunken down the gold lead over time. Big problem is going to be Ryoma, though. Ryoma has just been a pest, constantly attacking these turrets, even making Spyrax's life hell, even though Spyrax CSing quite well, still keeping up an econ, always has a bomb on top of his head that Ryoma's dropped on him.
Yeah, and I mean, Ryoma's almost 1,000 gold up on him. He has the most gold in the game right now, and you can see how much pressure EGC have on this top side because of him. And the fact is, FlyQuest didn't have much Baron vision to begin with. Now EGC are favored. They're trying to clear out what they can, though, on the other side of it. And it really isn't much. They clear out the pink ward, they need to walk away. You can see those Void Seekers really starting to do damage here. And FlyQuest, they're being very careful. They've narrowed the gold lead more and more because of some of these waves they pushed in. But you can see how difficult this situation is continuing to get for them.
You need to see that discipline I've been mentioning all series out of FlyQuest. They pulled it before. They need to pull it right here, right now. Not played it to the tempo. Evil Geniuses not allow them to dictate the tune that is going to be sung, that is going to be danced to. FlyQuest, scaling can work for them. They have a lot of damage they can bring to this late game. They can bring to this 5v5, but they need to be the one to dictate the fight. You're going to be looking for Faisal. You're going to be looking for Winsome.
I mean, at this point, I'm looking for Faisal to go for these alternate flank angles. It's not just going to be that front to back, because you have so many people making space for King and Ryoma. It isn't unless you get an angle, you're able to get on top of them, and Spyrax, Masu, everyone can follow up. That's basically what you're hoping for. And EGC, they're doing a good job. Choking out vision, flushing FlyQuest out of the river, just so that the whole time it's just this never-ending battle to set yourself up for a Herald that as FlyQuest, or rather a Baron that is FlyQuest, you're not really comfortable about starting right now.
You're being very, very cautious about this. One catch out and it can be game over. We saw how fast Evil Geniuses were able to turn some of these previous games. Luckily for FlyQuest, again, they are playing it slow. They're trying to utilize a bit of this Mystic Shot poke that can come through, still contested with the Void Missiles that keep flying from Evil Geniuses. Right now, FlyQuest with the setup coming in. Oh, Emperor's Divide comes out, able to push away Ryoma. Ryoma will get the double jump. Oh, able to get popped by the end of the line. Going forward, UG looking for more. Wants Armeo caught underneath the tower. Knocked up in the process. Depth charge comes in. Masu's on the opposite end. One will go down. UG falls. Smoothie probably going to follow as well. Mystic Shot goes through. Able to take down Smoothie. Teleport. Channeled by Evil Geniuses. And FlyQuest, they're scrapping it out. They trade up. 2 for 1.
Trading up is good, but EGC so clutch that they take UG out of the picture. I guarantee if this Graves is alive at the end of this, they go for the Baron. But you can see it. I mean, Ryoma gets hit with the shuffle despite flashing, and even though he gets the reset on his jump, one more auto from Spyrax was able to make it happen. And I mean, Smoothie, again, so good on the recon, is able to force those extra turret shots onto UG, which on top of his Ignite, guaranteed the kill. So even though FlyQuest trade up again, you don't have a jungler, you can't threaten the Baron, and that would have been FlyQuest's big way to swing the gold back for them.
It did get the gold in their favor, however, maybe not in the way they were hoping to, but still, nonetheless, it was through playing onto this top side and catching out members of Evil Geniuses alone. And now they're going to posture up around this Baron, which is always going to be a threat. Which is always something Evil Genius has got to watch out for, because we mentioned it earlier. Spyrax, Yuji, Masu, all auto attackers. They melt the Baron down quick.
Yeah, but you can see them turning. They know they can't finish this in front of Evil Geniuses, but again, extended engages because of the Ivern do favor Evil Geniuses. So this one is tough. The attempt doesn't really work there for FlyQuest. They're just going to clear out vision, potentially look to try it again.
They were able to get the teleport out of Ryoma. It's definitely something good for FlyQuest. But they still want to posture onto this Baron. Daisy's going to go down. That's the ultimate not available for Armeo. The biggest loss right here. You're going to be watching Smoothie to see what he can do with his ultimate. Able to get the knock up onto Masu. Masu has to flash over the wall. Masu's in a bad spot, and it's going to be pain for Masu as Surdy flashes onto the marksman of FlyQuest. FlyQuest, you're down a carry. Is this going to be retreat? Faisal caught out. Needs to use the unstoppable force to create some space to get some distance. Evil geniuses. They find the pick on Masu and turn onto the Baron.
Insane clutch play coming through from the new addition of Surdy in the top side. It gets you the angle to start the Baron. Yuji, you gotta steal this one.
Teleport, no unstoppable force. He's gotta find the steal. It's not there. Armeo's able to secure it. Yuji's down. Faisal needs to run away and win. Some is caught out. Evil geniuses. Turo, Baron, buff.
And a 3,000 gold lead to Food. Surdy might just have won Evil Geniuses the series, because now they have the Baron buff, and you gotta watch this one again. Masu wisely trying to use his range over the wall, but you could see it. No vision it looked like, but Smoothie went for the blind W, and he hit the jackpot, setting up Surdy for the all-out, and it was over at that point. It was the perfect setup.
That was the perfect alley-oop. Smoothie threw the ball over towards Surdy, and Surdy was able to dunk it in. You're at death's door, FlyQuest, and this is an EGC who have been able to secure the Baron, secure your jungler. They're so close to securing the game, Pete.
They are. Now they have a dragon that you see they picked up in the picture-in-picture. So much gold to work with that they have not only spent since they got the Baron, but now they've knocked down structures. They've earned even more in the process. You have a Tristana to work with. So this is just more turrets left to fall. I won't say it's done and dusted yet. FlyQuest still very strong. Yeah. Spyrax, Masu, pretty strong at the moment here, approaching their third items, but it only gets harder as time goes on. And you're seeing, I mean, how many threats there are onto their carries, Masu specifically, and EGC are just using them so well.
FlyQuest, their backs are against the wall right now, and the boogeyman is not going to let up. Evil geniuses. They've done this to so many teams. Now in playoffs, DLC, the last to fall. One last chance for FlyQuest. A 1-for-1 trade, but Masu has fallen. Evil geniuses sieging the base.
Masu, he stepped up too close. That kill was gonna happen whether he was there or not. So it ends up being that 2-for-1. You're gonna lose 2 inhibitors as FlyQuest challengers. Yuji is not enough on the Graves to do anything about this one. And the question is just gonna be, are EGC gonna push for more? They have a lot of gold to spend.
Going for it. Okay. Able to get the knockback onto Faisal. Not enough to actually engage the fight. Faisal going to soak up a lot of damage, be that frontline tank. Inhibitor's going to go down. That's going to be followed by a second inhibitor. Supers coming in both the mid and bot wave. Respawn timers now looking good for Masu and Spyrax as they'll get back onto the Rift in time to not allow Evil Geniuses to take more.
Wow. Evil Geniuses, despite that, have taken so much from FlyQuest here, bouncing back after getting rolled in Game 3 by FlyQuest in 21 minutes time. And for them to be able to clutch up here is such a big deal. For EG to continue this lower bracket run, for EG to...
caught out, King. He flashes out, doesn't get caught by the Mystic Shot, but that's a big cooldown that's going to be burnt. They want to try and focus down onto King. Unfortunately for them, it's still 2 minutes 50 seconds before Dragon, 2 minutes 50 seconds before Baron. Not much to really fight out. This is about sustaining. This is about surviving for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, Flash being down for King, it won't be up when either of those neutrals are there. So something to take advantage of. And even now, they're trying to see if they can get the jump on Ryoma. He's very careful, though. He has the pings. Wow, he's feeling confident.
He's going for it by himself. Has the rest of Evil Geniuses not far off, but here comes FlyQuest. Hook's going to land on Ryoma. Ryoma goes high into the sky, and it's a kill for Yuji.
Really nice punish. Super patient coming through from FlyQuest. So they managed to, it cost them a lot of cooldowns, but they took Ryoma off the map. It's going to give you an opportunity to catch your breath. Exactly. And it's worth noting too, I mean, they did it without Masu. He's getting that extra golden experience from the Super Wave, and this kill would be so big.
Oh man, this is huge right now for FlyQuest. They're finding small pick after small pick. It's centimeters that they're gaining back, but it's so needed at this stage of the game.
It adds up. The more picks you get off, the closer you are to some of these big spikes. We just saw Masu get his third item here, and you look at the gold graph and kind of see how close this game has been until it wasn't. And FlyQuest, I mean, they are certainly in dire straits. 2 big pickoffs back-to-back feel good, yes, but I need to see that again coming into one of these objective fights. You get another pick like that, you secure yourself a Baron, then we can talk.
31 minutes into this. Those timers we've been watching so closely. Dragon in a minute, Baron in a minute. You have to know that that Baron is going to be something that both teams are very, very willing to dance around. FlyQuest like to set up into that position, get a moment where Evil Geniuses are too far away to respond to how fast they can take the Baron, but Evil Geniuses, they will not leave that side of the map because they're not pressured to. Supers in the bottom, supers in the mid, they just want to find double supers off the top.
Yeah, I mean, for the moment, the waves are pushed out pretty far, so there is some time for FlyQuest to look for vision, to maybe look for picks. Spirax.
Oh, big chunk from the Void Seekers.
Yeah. It's a lot of damage. And right now, I like the choice from EGC. Stay topside. You would rather play for this Baron than this Dragon, because playing for Soul this late in the game, not worth it. The Baron, though, could help you close it out and get you your ticket to that lower finals against Cincinnati Fear tomorrow, Eric. And right now, FlyQuest recognize this too. They are nowhere near that Dragon Soul, and you gotta hope the picks that they picked off were enough gold for FlyQuest to get enough damage in. But King, these Void Seekers, he's getting so much poked. Now they want to pressure on the side of EGC because you know King can just whittle them down from many screens away.
And every time it lands, you get the reduced cooldown. So King is happy to keep flailing these out, trying to find it right on the money. And already Spirax and Yuji have been tapped. King would like to get more onto Masu and make this engage that much more risky for FlyQuest to have to take. Recall came out from Faisal. He had to go to the bottom lane to catch the super minions that are crashing in. Does have teleport available, but Baron has been started up. Faisal, ooh, he needs to get there. He needs to get there soon. Teleport's going to come out. 60k health remains onto the Baron. The chase onto Sturdy. Sturdy's by himself. Will flash over the wall. But look at the teleport going back into the base. Found by Ryoma. They're going for the chase. They're going for the back door. Evil Geniuses, they want to end this right now. They're looking for the close. From round 1 disappointment to lower bracket boogeyman. Every step in the evolution of Evil is another body to bury. The final LCS affiliated team. The turnaround of the season. The visceral destruction of Evil Geniuses!
All year long, Eric, it was disappointment after disappointment for Evil Genius Challengers. Finally, with the addition of Surdy in the back half of summer, they have turned it around. 3-1 against FlyQuest, top 3, and they're gonna face Fear tomorrow to see if they can go further.
I love the story, man. I love the story so goddamn much because round 1, this team, let's face it, they kind of stunk. What happened afterwards? They get Surdy, things start looking up, they get Armeo, and now they're besting everyone that steps in their way, from FlyQuest to Team Liquid Challengers. Oh my goodness, Evil Geniuses, they just wanted to fall to the lower bracket to get that lower bracket buff, and now they're using it to demolish everyone beat.
Right, and that's it. They've beaten seeds 1 and 2. Fear, who had a heartbreaking loss yesterday, are their next opponents. Evil Geniuses, they have all the momentum in their favor, and they are 1 best-of-5 away from punching their ticket to the Riot Games arena.
Oh man, what a series, what a performance in the lower bracket coming out from Evil Geniuses Challengers. 1 more game against Cincinnati Fear, and they can come out to Los Angeles and have us a finals with DSG. But that is in the future, that is tomorrow. We got to focus on the present. And in the present, we do have an interview with one of the winners from Evil Geniuses. We're going to throw it over to short break. When we return, Kangas will catch you on the other side with said interview.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace.
Find your drive.
Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we're here with the Verizon postgame interview of the victorious King, bot laner for Evil Geniuses Challengers after a 3-1 victory over FlyQuest. Want to start off, congratulations, King, for taking out the team that put you in the lower bracket.
Yeah, thank you. Honestly, it felt pretty good winning today, but, you know, when we lost to them, I felt like they weren't actually the better team, you know? And I think, like, we learned a lot about ourselves and how to beat them. And if anyone wants to have been watching that Jujutsu Kaisen, like, they know about, like, we just learned a new technique on how to come back and beat them.
I think Desworks called you Goku. So okay, maybe a little more boomer of a reference, but same theme there, right? You know, get beat, learn from it, and then improve forward. I'd love to actually dive into that a little bit more. What are some of the, you know, tangible things we can talk about for how you improve? Because from our perspective, draft is the #1. You know, the difference, a pivot towards things like Seraphine, Ivern jungle, more of a scaling focus. Are we on the nose there?
I would say it was more gameplay related, but I definitely do draft. I think draft is important. I mean, having Amal on our team, he's got like a really gigantic champ pool. Like the Lilia was first time, but like we just trust him, you know, because like, I mean, yeah, sort of. I mean, if someone played that long, you know they can play a lot of stuff, so that helped. But I think it was mainly if you watch our FlyQuest series, especially the second game, we were so far ahead, but we just didn't know how to end the game, and we really put a lot of focus on like how to actually use like our tools to end the game, because we actually just like did nothing and we just lost and just like Pikachu face like, huh? How did we lose? But yeah, no, it was mainly we just know how to close out games now.
Sure. Now, I know that Surdy referenced that there was like a long 8-hour sit down where he chatted with the team of like, okay, how do we need to play around support pressure? How do I need to play side lanes? Were you a part of that conversation at all?
I mean, honestly, I don't remember if it was 8 hours, but
okay. Well,
I think
maybe embellish a little.
I think we did have a talk about that, and yeah, I mean, our team is looking a lot better in general. I don't think we've had it. Okay, other than like game 3, but that was an anomaly. Our early games have been pretty good.
Well, let's talk about game 3 then. You were put behind, Armeo's getting invaded, every lane is getting pushed in, so Ivern doesn't have a lot of pressure to play with. What was your perspective in that game?
Oh, I mean, I was just after Ivern died, and then they're like, "Oh my God, Poppy's gonna dive us!" And I said, if you saw me, I literally just ghosted on my tower. I was like, I don't care anymore. If I die, I die. Just whatever. Yeah. I just if that's what happens to me, I'm just gonna accept it. But yeah, obviously it worked out. Then I died level 3. I got really annoyed at that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how about that no sums walking up to mess with Masu? Did you learn your lesson?
I saw he didn't have sums.
Oh, okay.
So when I died, I was like, oh my God, he had heal.
And Flash.
And Flash. Yeah, I thought I could live with just Flash, but yeah, no, I mean, we made a bunch of mistakes, but once we like got those team fights back, I was like, well, guys, we've actually won this game. We just don't troll. We
rebuilt up some of that confidence, though. Even though you did win one team fight, you lost the game. It was a pretty rough game.
I mean, we were like winning, and then we just all died, and they heralded it into our Nexus Towers, and we're like, oh my God, it's happening. But no, I mean, I don't know. I just think that game was like, we didn't get outplayed. Okay, I mean, we got outplayed, but we didn't get outskilled. You know, like Poppy killing you on your buff at level 2, but I don't think he had a buff either. Like, that's just a cheese, you know, like.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. Well, we'll boil it down to that. But at the end of the day, you did pick up the series, right? The 3 wins that you had, I think, were definitive. And that game that you did lose, you were still in it a few times. Well, how does that give the team focus and lens kind of going forward? What are you looking at? Because you got to play again tomorrow. This is a quick turnaround in this bracket for EG as you are making the miracle run in the lower bracket. So what's the team's focus for tonight going into tomorrow versus Cincinnati Fear?
I mean, I think we just need to play normally. I think the person with the most mental preparation needs to be me when I verse Manui and his champion Ocean. Like, I need to get
Seraphine between the two of you. Who's gonna play? It's gonna be played in this series, right?
I mean, I don't know. Like, this is like gonna be like, this is really like I don't know what that guy's gonna do. You know, like he's gonna pull something from the bottom of his like bag, like his bottomless bag. Like I'm just scared of like, you know, what he can do. So
sure.
I mean, I think Fear, even though I think we lost every regular season game to them, right?
I believe so, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we lost every game to them. I do think we are miles and miles ahead of them individually, every role. but we literally just lose our minds because the way they play the game is really weird. And if we just stay like we keep control of our emotions, we'll just wipe them.
Okay, keep control, keep focused. I think that'll be a good equation for victory for Evil Geniuses going forward. Thanks so much, King, for coming on and chatting with us. I want to give you one final chance. Shout out anybody at home who's watching, anybody who's supporting you right now.
Just shout out to Keetong and shout out Tomo. Yeah, shout out those two.
Okay, any particular reason?
No, they're just my boys.
All right. Shout out to the other bot laners and supports out there. Thank you so much for coming on, King, and chatting with us. Best of luck going into prep tonight because you got a big match coming up. And with that said, we'll bring back the casters here to close out the day. Everyone say bye, King.
Bye, King.
And everybody say hello, Get Back. Get Back, I want to get your thoughts there because that was a series. It's all done in 4 games. EG take the 3-1. What are your reactions after witnessing this?
Yeah, I mean, EG just looked like the better team. That's kind of what I was saying in that last game. I think in a more slow and controlled game, they look better. And you could hear a little bit King talking there. He said if they don't lose to themselves, which I guess is, by the way he's talking, an issue that the team has had, then they should be in a really good spot. I favor them tomorrow versus Fear as well. Agree with what he's saying. I think that they individually outmatch their opponents. But, you know, I said at the start, I think whoever wins between EG and Fly is probably going to win the split. Overall, pretty good day. That third game was just cursed, so you just put that one to the side and move on.
Call it off.
Hey, it ended fun.
Never happened.
Backdoor.
It was a 3-0.
Good energy. Good energy for that backdoor. Let's take a look at the updated bracket, though, here. Beat, I want to get your thoughts to start off because Evil Geniuses are doing it. Look at that tear through the lower bracket. They have dropped a singular game since arriving down here.
Yeah, and it's just been an unbelievable run for them. This is the team that we keep getting excited about. This is why some of us were saying 7th seed doesn't feel quite right for this roster. And they continue to prove that again and again. I mean, 3-1 against the 2nd seed. They smashed Team Liquid in the previous round of the lower bracket. And now Fear is really the only opponent left between them and a LAN final.
Destrix, this is at all how you predicted the bracket to go. All the LCS affiliated teams dropping, top 2 seeds dropping, Fear DSG upper bracket finals, EGC, the lowest seed of the LCS affiliate, making the run. This is kind of crazy.
So I'm gonna be honest. I saw 2 of these teams being here. Obviously, you know, I'm a little biased towards Shochi, so I wanted Cincinnati Fear to get over here. DSG, I thought they had a phenomenal roster at the start of the season. I expected them to be at least be in the top 3. EGC, however, has blown my freaking mind, man. I thought the other team was going to be Team Liquid that's here today. No, EGC put them in the dirt. They put FlyQuest in the dirt respectfully, buried them, put up a tombstone, and now they got one more inscribed with Fear at its name, a hole to dig.
Yeah, EGC carrying their shovel with pride right now as they just keep leaving bodies behind them. But that's the bracket. They got one more match ahead of them tomorrow. But we want to remind everyone that after that, there's only one more match to go, and that is the finals. A reminder, if you have not gotten your tickets, get your tickets now. They're only 10 bucks. You can count those bucks on 2 hands right there. So make sure to go out and get those. You can check out the Twitter account for the link. Go to follow Path to LCS, and you'll see us all there. Desterix, if I say it live on broadcast, maybe we can manifest this. Maybe Desterix throws me through a table. You know, maybe there's arm wrestling matches. Maybe there's actual wrestling matches. You never know what's going to happen.
You guys didn't see it, but Eric's eyes widened when he said that, because he would love nothing more than to throw Kangas through a table, and I would love nothing more than to watch that happen. So yeah,
off a 2nd-story balcony as well. I really want to maximize this as well.
Well, you know, okay, hold on, we're getting a little crazy now.
We'll workshop it.
Hear me out. Hear me out. It's off season. It's off season. You can tend to his injuries afterwards.
Yeah, I'll recover. I'll recover by then. That'll totally be fine. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Desterix and Beatdown. Even with some of the internet issues that we were having, great cast. Get back. Everyone, give a W. Get back in Twitch chat right now. You were fantastic on the cast and pick band. Where can people come support you, Get Back, if they want to see more of what you're doing?
Support me. I haven't streamed a very long time, but you know, Twitch is GetBack71, Twitter's GetBack71. Be playing NACL next split, and you know, there's not a whole lot right now, but pretty much you type GetBack71, anything that comes up with that, that's probably me. So there you go.
Okay, well, there you have it. Get back, thank you so much for coming on. And a reminder, everybody, before we close up, that the LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing network, where you can book any car you want for just about any occasion. Forget about your boring car rentals at Turo.com. We will be back tomorrow with the lower bracket finals and announcing the final team to make it to that lane. You're not going to miss it, so we'll see you there.